From the combined crew of blindandroidusers.com and accessibleandroid.com, it's time for your favorite Android podcast. Kick back now and enjoy another fine episode from these Android fanboys and gals as they navigate Android from a blindness perspective. And now, here's your crew.
Hello and welcome to episode 133 of the Blind Android Users Podcast. I'm Ed Green and I'm here today with my co-hosts Warren Carr, Sally Kunders, Austin Pinto, John Dyer and Doug Cameron. And we're coming to you on Saturday, the 24th of June, 2023. This week we have our usual announcement section. In our Android Basics section, we continue our series on the Play Store where we look at the library. In our Spotlight section, John Dyer unboxes the new Google tablet. And we have an app of the week from Warren, which is the app Instapaper. So I am coming to you from a sweltering London. It must be about 95, 96, and we don't have air conditioning here, so it's not pleasant. It's somewhat sweaty, but it is what it is. Warren, how are you?
I am doing well. You know what? Yesterday my eye was kind of bothering me, my right eye. It's like I'm trying to see again what's going on. I have no clue. I'm kind of feeling a little bit better today. It was just watering, like I got something in my eye. And my wife thought maybe I have some allergy, mowing the grass. I have no clue. So anyway, but I'm here and talking about heat. You are kind of heating up there. We're heating up here too because I think we're going to be like 85, 86 degrees today. Few days have been nice and absolutely beautiful. We had to turn off the air because it was like in the 60s, 61, 60, whatever. But we're heating up. But I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, you at least have air conditioning though, don't you?
Of course, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I just couldn't do without it. Yeah. Oh gosh, that would be terrible with all that humidity. Yeah.
It is. Dougie Dollface, how are you?
I'm not too bad. Just dealing with, slightly warmer temperatures, but not too bad. Right now, outside, we're sitting about 68 Celsius, so it's not horrible. It's supposed to get up to about 80 today.
That must be Fahrenheit. 68 Celsius, you'd be dead.
Yeah, that is actually very horrible.
So, Ed, if you're sitting right now at 27 Celsius, you're only sitting around 84 Fahrenheit.
No, sadly, we're not sitting at 27 Celsius. I wish we were.
Well,
we've crashed 30. So
that's the most updated info on our weather systems for you guys.
No, I wish it were. It's not. John Boy, what's going on? You're time constrained today, aren't you?
Yeah, I have a birthday party to go to later for my nephew, but they have air conditioning, and I have air conditioning, so all is well.
That's good. You're not allowed to give him that tablet. That's cruel and unusual. No one wants it. And I know I'm preempting the unboxing, but you can't give him the tablet, okay?
Yeah, well, they wouldn't let me anyway. They're an Apple family.
How old is the nephew?
12.
So 12 cheek paws for the nephew then. That's good. Austin, what's going on?
So I'm in a different location today. I'm in my sister-in-law's house, and those of you who are from Portugal, they'll know that today is the feast of San João. So San João is a St. John the Baptist feast, and it is absolutely downpouring in Mumbai. Like Mumbai, the south side has got flooded almost, and it's nice and cool here. It's some relief from the summer, so it's really good to be back in the rains.
Excellent. And Sally, how is life in Samsung's fair city, in a city made of phones?
Well, you're talking about 27 degrees. Here in Samsung, it's 27 degrees today, and it's kind of hot. And sadly, we don't have air conditioners. My home is pretty close to the sea, so I'm feeling this humidity, and it's killing me. Even Like
Ah.
when it's 27, it's killing me. Like in the next coming days, it's gonna be over 30. So I don't know what's gonna happen.
Oh dear. No, well,
Yeah.
you'll just have to manage. We'll have to keep on keeping on.
I need a good air conditioner, of course.
You do. Yeah, we
Yeah.
all do. I certainly do.
This is the announcement segment of Blind Android Users podcast. Stay tuned to hear important information regarding the podcast, surveys, and the latest news.
And now we turn to our announcement section. Austin, have we got anything this week?
So the announcement is that some days back, John had uploaded the unboxing of the Pixel tablet, and that video just took off. So it got like 150, 160 views in 36 hours. So if you want to submit any app demos or any unboxing, you can record it, either audio or video, anything will do, and upload it on OneDrive, WeTransfer, any of those services, Dropbox, and any of the others, and email that to contactus at blindandroidusers.com. We would like to either have it on a channel if it's long, or if it's good, we could have it on a podcast.
So, guys, if you're wondering, there is an 8 pages long article on accessibleandroid.com about Talkback versus commentary screen reader. If you're curious, of course, the article is like really comparing those two screen readers. So you just go and check out accessibleandroid.com and you're going to see the article. It was a really good one, so just wanted to mention. I think it's well described, the two screen readers in an objective way, I guess.
Yeah, it's structured, which is good.
Yeah.
I love structure.
Yeah.
And it is structured. So yeah.
Yeah.
Do check that out.
This is Android Basics, in which we bring you up to date on the things that you should know to use your Android phone.
Now we move to our Android Basics section, and I'm going to pass to Warren, who takes us to the next part of the Play Store series, where he demonstrates the Play Store library.
Plowing our way through the Play Store now, we come to an item that we'll be looking at today, and we're talking about the library. There are 3 items here in the library that we'll be looking at. I'll now go ahead and navigate my way to the Play Store, and once I'm done with this, then the podcast crew will be discussing or deliberating on this subject matter. I will now invoke the Play Store. Open Play Store.
Secret Invasion on Disney.
I am on the Play Store, and of course we'll tap on our account near the top right corner, and that pops up the menu from which we could pick the item we're after, and today we're talking about the library.
Signed in as Warren Carr Warcare. Account and settings.
Now I have tapped on my account, and now we'll move to the 6th item, and that would be below the item that we talked about in one of our Play episodes, and that was the
Play Protect. 5
Play
of 7.
Protect. And so we go down below here, and we'll find the library.
Library. 6 of 7.
Let's go ahead and tap on the library and look at the items that we find upon tapping on library.
Library. Play Store. Library. Out of list.
Here we come across 3 items. The items that we come across would include
Wish list. 1 of 3. In list. 3 items.
wish list. So every time that you chose to add something to a wish list, for example, say you're looking at an app and you like it, but you are not ready to install that app at that time, then you tap on that more options on the top right corner, and you find that add to wish list if it has it. Some apps do not have that for some odd reason, but for the most part, most of them do. But now and then, you'll come across an app that does not have the add to wish list. So let's go in here, for example, and I'll show you some of the apps I have in my wish list.
Wish list. Wish list. Out of list. App. Oriel AI. Snap to speech. Oriel AI. 4 of 18. In list. 18 items.
I only have 18 items in my wish list. I don't think so. It pulls up all of your wish lists as it settles. So if I scroll
App.
down,
Hoplin. Hoplin Technologies, Inc. Star rating. 4.7. 10 of 18.
I'll scroll down
App.
again.
A Neuralite. Neurologics. Star rating. 2.6. 16 of 23.
As you can see, it's increasing.
Comics and Manga by Comixology. Comixology. Star rating. 2.7. 21 of 28.
There we go.
App. Sunny. Weather forecast. Mar Safadi. Star rating. 3.4. 28 of 35.
As you can see, it keeps increasing because
App. Weather and radar. Storm radar. Weather Online GmbH. Star rating. 4.4. 33 of 40.
I'll go back. You got the drift here.
Library. Library. Out of list.
Now, of course, if you want to install any of those apps in your wish list, you could just tap on the app in question and just tap on the install. Now, below that, we have
Family library. 2 of 3.
family library. So if you have added someone to your family, for example, and you've enabled that family sharing, now what they add to theirs will also be seen here. So for example, if I go in here, I will see some items that probably were not necessarily from me, could be from my wife, could be from one of my kids. So that kind of thing. So things that they get added to their library gets added to mine, for example, those things that we decide to share or things that we think the other person would like. If you don't want it to, you can choose to not add those things to the library, for example. So if I tap here,
Family library. Family library. Out of list.
and we hear,
You'll be notified when family members add stuff. Change this anytime in settings greater than notifications. 3 of 345. In list. 345 items.
so I have like 345 items here in my shared library. That is a family library. So, but of course, you can change whether to be notified when someone adds something to the family library, or you can actually choose to not share your stuff if you want to be a stingy one, that is. But that's how it works.
Go to settings.
You can tap on go to settings, or to the right of that
Got it.
is I got it. So I'll tap on got it.
Added by family members 13.
So as we can see, my family members have added 13. So out of the 145, there's 13 that were added by my family members. And the rest of it, of course, you know who it came from? Me. That's what that is.
App. Mute Camera Pro. HDM Dev Team. 13 of 344.
So those are some of the items.
App. At Voice Premium License. Hyperionics Technology. 22 of 344.
So without a doubt, you know this is coming from me because I use the voice aloud now and then. And so I added a premium to it and also extends to the family library. In the event that someone wants to use it, even though no one would in my family, it's still there. Let's go back.
Library. Library. Out of list.
Now let's look at the last item in the library. But before we look at the last item in the library, I want you to not confuse this, though, with the other library that you find when you go to your updates, and then you have the manage apps, and then you have the installed apps and not installed apps. This is not necessarily the same thing. Let's go to the last item here. And of course, this one we're talking about playbooks. And if we tap on this, we'll be taken out of this area and taken to the playbooks app.
Books. Access your library in the app. Clicking this will navigate away from the Play Store. 3 of 3.
So it tells me that if I tap here, it'll be navigating me away from the Play Store, placing me, therefore, in the playbooks area. I'll go ahead and tap.
Play Books. Google Play Books. Search Play Books. Search Play Books. Out of list.
And now it takes me to the playbooks area, and I am now totally out of the Play Store. That's the quick overview of this, and I'll hand it over to the podcast crew as we deliberate on these items.
Thank you, Warren. It's a bit confusing that Play Store has sort of different things it calls libraries, isn't it?
That's very good observation, Ed, because, we're talking about library, and sometimes we, mention in the same breath the library, the uninstalled, or rather the
Mhm.
not installed. And so, frankly, the not installed, we, refer to that as adding something to my library, but Google doesn't consider that as a library. So we want to separate or make a distinction between these two. So when we talk about the library here, we're talking about the three items that I have demonstrated, that is the wish list, the family library, and that playbooks. That's what is found in the library. Now, of course, when we talk about the not installed, those are items that you find under app management. So that's where the difference comes in.
Yeah, and I thought that was odd when I listened to your demo. I mean, I know, it's just a weird way to do it. I would possibly merge them somehow and put the not installed in there.
It's Google, they keep changing these things, and it's hard to. It didn't used to be like that, but now and then they tweak it, or someone wakes up and figures, hey, we need to do it a little bit differently, just to confuse us, I guess.
Yeah, but no, it's a good section of the Play Store, isn't it? Anyone else got any comments on this bit?
I was wondering about the wish list. If you put something in your wish list, what happens? Like, are you going to get any notifications if the app goes on sale or something?
Well, the idea of the wish list is that, maybe something that is a little bit expensive, you don't have the money at the time, but it's something you really, really like. And so you just add it there, hoping that someday you'll get some money to buy it, or maybe some app that is outside of your area and you
Yeah.
just want to add it to the wish list. So, pining for it, hoping
But
that the developer will change his mind.
Do we get notified about this if it goes on sale?
No, you wouldn't be notified about it if it goes on sale. That will be in the notification or offers, that we talked about some weeks back. But I wish that could be part of it. If Google notices that I have added this thing to my wish list, this thing was $10 and it's in my wish list, just like Amazon does. This thing goes down to $3.99. Why not let me know that one of the items that I have added onto my wish list is now on sale for $3.99? I think that's a great idea, Sally. But of course, they never think about these things.
Yeah, but I think in this way, you just put the things in your wish list and you just forget about it, because no one will always be talk about the wish list and we check about the wish list. So if the app goes on sale, we will know that.
You're right, because I was looking at mine, after I scrolled some more demonstrating
the apps
it,
from
I realized
80 years ago.
Yeah, I had like 135 apps in my wish list. It's just bizarre.
Maybe even some of them got discontinued, right?
Exactly. And the other thing that bothers me is that some apps don't have the ability to add to the wish list. I've, been wanting to add some apps and you just can't find where to add to the wish list, or some don't have the share. So for example, some app you want to share with someone or share with yourself via an email, and it doesn't have that. Have you guys noticed that?
Yeah, that share thing is the weirdest thing.
Sometimes I don't see the share. Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's up to the developer or
it is.
what's
It's up
going
to the
on.
developer.
I wonder, I've always been a little confused on that, which is why anytime I want to go and share a link for the Play Store for an app, I always just do it off the computer because it's so inconsistent in the actual Play Store application.
The nice thing about the Play Store application, though, is that the link is clean. So the computer will put a language thing on it. So it will say and HL equals whatever. And that means that unless you clean that, if you share it with someone who's not in your Play Store, so I'm always careful to clean them on the podcast notes, they may not work. Whereas if you share a link from the Play Store app, then you
It's
don't
gonna
get
be
that
cleaned up.
and it's cleaned, yeah.
Exactly.
But I don't know why you wouldn't want your app shared. Like, who goes in and thinks, yeah, I'm going to turn off the ability for anybody to share my app?
And
Like, who
this
does that?
yeah, the wish list does really need to change because like we install those apps to get the like notifications the app goes on sale. Like there are some apps, so if the wish list gets that feature, so we won't have those apps in our phone.
I don't know though.
Yeah.
I've never seen a wish list operate like that. Like Audible or Amazon, their
Yeah,
wish
Amazon
they
is
lists
should.
doing
don't.
that.
Well, their wish lists don't give me notifications when anything goes on sale. Like it's just a thing to remember things you're interested in, isn't it? I mean, I think you're right, Sally. I think it should be, but I've never seen a wish list that does that.
Well, on Amazon, if you add something to your list, like say, hey, I'm adding this Anchor headset. It was on 90 whatever dollars. When it has a price drop, you get notified.
Yeah,
This thing
Audible
in your
doesn't. None of
yeah,
my
no,
Amazon wish lists have. Maybe
no.
none. Maybe none of my stuff goes on sale.
So I'm not.
Good to know.
I don't do Audible, but I know that my Amazon, for example, I have wish list items, and I get notification all the time when the price drops.
I think the idea of wish list is for this because these are the things that you wish to buy. So
Yeah, no, it should work like that. Maybe none of the stuff I ever put on my Amazon one goes on sale. I don't know. I don't get
It should be
notified.
called the wish in one hand list. If you guys know the rest of that phrase.
Indeed.
Yeah, and like we indicated in the family library, you can choose to not share. So if you have something naughty, you don't want your family to have it, you could turn that off. And you could do that per app, as a matter of fact. You can decide, hey, I want to share this app, but I do not want to share this app. And now I'm back to the library. If you're a developer, by heaven, put that share in there because it's silly to not have that share.
I wonder if they have to meet certain requirements to be able to have their app shared, because I don't know why they would not want it to be able to be shared. So I'm wondering if like it has to meet certain requirements.
I don't
Wouldn't that
think
be
it's a
kind of weird,
requirement
though?
because most of them you see the share and some of them you don't see. I think it's just an oversight on the part of the developer.
I also don't think so because like when we were developing accessible Android, we didn't feel any requirements about this. It's just like when you want to share, it's already shareable.
There you go. Sally says the accessible Android app meets no requirements. Good. Anyway, Doug, I think you wanted to come in, Dougie boy, didn't you?
Yeah, like it doesn't make sense for, say, Google to implement requirements for the apps to be able to be shared, because I mean they want people to use the apps, they want those numbers. So for Google to have the requirements for you to meet to share an app just doesn't make sense. So I'm thinking it definitely has to do with the developers and whether or not they're basically including the ability to share their apps. Like it just somewhere it does not make any sense because it's so inconsistent.
Yeah. I mean, most you can, obviously, but there are a good number you can't. Like, it's not like it's a significant minority, I would say.
This is the Spotlight segment. Stay tuned for premium interviews, device unboxing, and more.
Now we turn to our Spotlight section, and John Dyer unboxes the Google tablet.
Hello, John here with the Blind Android Users Podcast, and today I'm going to be doing an unboxing of the new Pixel tablet. So I'm going to go ahead and get right to it. This is the box. It's very hefty because it's got the tablet and it's got the speaker/charging stand. So it's a pretty thick box. I'm going to... Usually they have tabs to pull, but I'm not feeling that on this, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut it. On this side. And along this side. Okay. back over. Alright, cut the top off. I'm assuming this is the tablet on top, yep. I'm going to set this aside for now. Come right back to it. There is what I'm going to assume is just a piece of cardboard. And under that is, this is the stand. I'm going to unwrap this. Definitely feels similar to a Nest Hub. Okay, so I'm gonna guess, yeah, this is right side up like this. So the bottom obviously is flat. It's got sort of rectangular shaped with rounded corners, more of a pill shape, I guess. And on the back, there's a place to plug in. On the left side, there's a place to plug in the power adapter. And on the front, I can feel the pins where it will connect to the tablet. Set this aside. I'm assuming all that's left in here is the power adapter. Yeah, so here's the power adapter, which I will not be needing right now. So I'll just leave that. Move this box out of the way. Now I'm going to unwrap the tablet. Try not to tear this too badly. Okay. Alright, so actually not a bad size. Obviously it's like an 11-inch tablet size. It's got rounded edges, rounded corners and rounded edges, so it's not flat on the sides. Let's see. So on the back, I'll start on the back. Yeah, I can feel where the pens are going to attach down here. In the middle, I'm assuming that's just a Google logo. The top left, I'm holding it in landscape right now, facing away from me. The top left is the camera. I'll flip it back towards me and going to see what's along the top. So there's a power button and volume buttons on the right side. Near the edge, the volume buttons are raised and the power button is flush with the device. Then there's a mic, I'm assuming that's a mic, about 2 inches to the left of the volume buttons, but not quite center. Then there's another, what feels like a mic, near the center. I'm assuming none of these are holes for a SIM removal tool, since this doesn't have memory card support or SIM card support. Now down along the left side, what feels like a speaker at the top. There's 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's see what's on the right side. 1. Okay, so I don't know why I was expecting the USB-C port to be on the right side, but it's on the left side when you're holding it landscape. So there's 4 speakers that I can feel on, 2 on each side, and on the left side there's a USB-C plug between the speakers. Now on the bottom, there's what feels like feet, maybe these actually rest on the table when... Yeah, maybe these rest on the table. Now's a good time to see what the speaker dock situation is like. I'm going to connect it. Okay, so the feet don't rest on the table, but I guess if it were to fall, I don't know. I don't know what the feet are for. Okay, so it's on the stand now. It magnetically attaches. I'm going to pick up, so I can pick up the whole thing. So one-handed, you're not going to be able to take this thing off one-handed because it picks the stand up with it. Unless you twist it. Let me try twisting it. Yeah, I guess if you want to twist it, you can get it off one-handed. And I'm going to go ahead and press some of these. I'm pressing volume buttons now. And it's not, it's pretty stable. I'm going to press only the button. I'm not going to even touch the tablet. It's rocking a little bit, but it's staying magnetized to the stand. So yeah, I think it's attached nicely. I wish the stand was a little heavier, but it stays together. All right, I'm going to detach it and turn it on. I'm holding the power button. I did not feel a vibration. Holding what I think is the power button. Okay. I can tell the screen has lit up, but there was no vibration. Going to press the volume keys and hold them and see if anything happens. Maybe I did it too early. Try again.
Press and hold both volume keys for 3 seconds to use Talkback. Talkback on. Held volume keys. Talkback turned on. Welcome to Talkback. Welcome to Talkback. Page 1 of 5. Talkback is a screen reader intended for
So I'm going to turn it up a little bit.
who have difficulty seeing the screen. It gives you spoken feedback so that you can use your...
Oh, gotta touch the screen.
Welcome to Talkback. Page 1 of 5. Talkback is a screen reader intended...
I'm gonna back out of
Welcome
here.
to your Pixel tablet. Language: English United States button. Press select to activate.
Okay, so I'm going to go through the setup, but I'm going to cut everything out that's not specific or new to the tablet. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and I'll see you in a little bit when I get to something that sets it apart or that's different from your average Pixel device setup.
Set up fingerprint unlock. Use your fingerprint to unlock your tablet or verify it's you, like when you sign into apps or approve a purchase.
Okay, so I'm going to try this new fingerprint setup because it'll be using the power button for the first time on a Pixel. They used to have the fingerprint sensor on the back of the phones, and then they moved them to under the display. So as far as I can recall, this is the first time it's been on an actual button.
How it works. Fingerprint unlock creates a unique model of your fingerprint to verify it's you. To create this fingerprint model during setup, you will take images of your fingerprint from different positions.
Okay, we know how
When
it
you
works.
use fingerprint, you're in control. You can delete your fingerprint model or turn off.
I'm going to turn this up a little bit.
Keep in mind, your tablet can be unlocked when you don't intend to. Learn more at no thanks, but I agree button.
I agree.
Double
Let's see.
tap to activate. Touch the power button without pressing it. The fingerprint sensor is on the power button. It's the flat button next to the raised volume button on the edge of the tablet.
So I think I touched it.
Lift, then touch again. Enrolling fingerprint 0%. Place the center. Enrolling fingerprint 4%. Enrolling fingerprint 8%. Enrolling fingerprint 12%. Change the position of your finger slightly each time. Place the center part of your finger on the sensor.
I know this is
Change the position of your finger slightly each time.
very
Make sure
intriguing.
you're enrolling fingerprint 24%. Enrolling.
I'll just try to do it as
enrolling
fast as
fingerprint-
possible.
Enrolling and place the left edge of your finger on the sensor. Enrolling fingerprint 60%.
We're at
Make
60%.
enrolling fingerprint 6. Enrolling fingerprint 80%. Make enrolling fingerprint 84%.
So I'm
Finally,
using
place the right edge of your finger on the sensor. Change the position of your finger slightly. Finally, place the right enrolling fingerprint 92. Enrolling fingerprint 90. Enrolling fingerprint 100%. Fingerprint added. Now you can use your fingerprint to unlock your tablet or verify it's you, like when you sign into apps or approve a purchase. Add another fingerprint so it's easier to unlock when you hold your tablet in different ways. Add another button. Double tap to activate.
I'll skip this for now.
Next button.
Okay, so I'm here on the home screen. I've just finished the setup. I'm going to turn off the screen.
Screen off.
There was nothing specific to the tablet in the setup other than the fingerprint sensor part. There wasn't anything letting me know how to use the new taskbar. I guess that's something I'll have to figure out. But when I went through the tutorial of how to use gestures, it only mentioned the home gesture, the back gesture, and the recents gesture. It didn't say anything about the taskbar. As far as the feel and weight of the tablet, I like it. The size of the tablet, I like it. I will say, well, this is aluminum, but it's got a coating on it, so it doesn't feel metal, but it's very solid. There's no creaking to it or anything like that. I'm not going to try too hard, but when you try to bend it, it doesn't make any sound. I will use this for a few days, at least a week, and then I will let you know my thoughts on it. I'll do sound tests. I'll let you know what I figure out as far as... I have a lot of questions, so hopefully if you have questions too, I'll find the answers to them. So thanks for listening to this unboxing.
Now, John, I know you're doing the review next week, but I do have to tantalize you with this. An objective source, Digital Trends, it's not a mom and pop website that says this is the worst Pixel ever made. As you can tell, I'm deeply disappointed with that assessment. I don't find it at all amusing. It doesn't at all reinforce my view of Google hardware in any shape or form. And that's not why I'm putting it out there. But John, what is your reaction to that Digital Trends review?
So before John reacts, I want to tell everyone of the fantastic feature of the Pixel tablet that you can stick it on your fridge. So for that, to know the full feature and how to do it, just check out our latest short video.
Okay, so my reaction to the article is it feels like a little bit of clickbait to me, or a lot of clickbait. And the actual wording was, if I recall correctly, the worst Pixel I've ever used. And I can believe it because it sounds like whoever wrote that article has never used a Pixel before. They're very confused about different things. And I did not have the same experience as them. A lot of their complaints are with like third-party apps and stuff that doesn't really have anything to do with the specific tablet. And I mean, they're entitled to their opinion, so I can't say they're wrong, but I didn't have some of the issues like it falling off the stand when I tried to adjust the volume that they had. So I might just be a lot more coordinated than they are. Or maybe their magnet was weaker. Who knows?
So let's test some of these specifics then and see if these have happened. So when you're holding the tablet off the dock, do your hands naturally block the speakers? Or is it fine?
Yes. And
Yes,
that's how
what?
it is with any.
Yes,
My
what?
hands
Yes, it's
block
fine, or they
the
don't.
They block the speakers because there are 4 speakers, and when you have 2 speakers on each side of a tablet, you have to hold it somewhere. This is how all tablets are. Again, it sounds like this person's not used a tablet before, but
And of course, this is no brainer. Even the Samsung tablets that have 4 speakers, some are on the side. And it's just like the old Nokia phone that had some speaker on the side. Of course, if you hold a thing on the side instead of putting it in your palm, of course, you're going to block that speaker. So even a dumbhead knows this. So come on, give me a break.
And what about the accusation when you're asking it to do stuff? So it will play a show if it's asked to from the dock, but if you ask it to open, say, a YouTube without asking it to play a show or Netflix, it won't do it. Any views on that?
I think that the problem that people are misunderstanding the tablet is not the home assistant. Frankly, it is not. If anyone is buying this thinking that they're going to be having the functionality of the home speaker, you are wrong. They are not the same. That's not the intent of the tablet. The tablet is not necessarily the replacement for your home assistant. People were thinking, oh, this is going to be something that replaces my home assistant. They are not the same thing. Let's just put that out there.
It's got a dock though, and why shouldn't it be the same thing?
Well,
Like,
it does
if it
have
didn't
a
come with a
dock,
dock,
but it's
that'd
not.
be fine. No,
It is
like if it
not a
didn't come with
home
a dock,
speaker.
I'd agree with you. Like if it just came in a box, then obviously there's no expectation that it can do that. If it comes with a dock, then why shouldn't it?
I'm gonna
Well-
side with Ed on this. I think they're trying to sell it as two items. They're trying to say you can get a home hub and a tablet in one. And while I don't really agree with, like, the person in the article mentioned, like, you can't say open Netflix and have it go into the Netflix app while it's docked, but you can't do that on a home hub anyway. So I think that's kind of like not an issue, because you could take it off the dock and then say open Netflix like you can on any Pixel device, and that would open the Netflix app. So that's not a big deal to me, but I have noticed some serious inconsistencies, and it does fall short of like the regular Nest display experience, and that's disappointing to me. But that being said, you can use TalkBack on it, which you cannot do on a Nest display. And so it's better in some ways, but it's not as good in some ways. For example, you have to use Chromevox on your Nest display, which is super slow and unresponsive, and it's just not a great experience. So I like the fact that you can use TalkBack while this thing is on the dock to like get to all your home controls, or to get to the playback controls of whatever's playing currently, that sort of thing. You can do the 2-finger double tap on the screen to play and pause whatever's going, which is something you can't do on a regular Nest home hub. So it has its advantages, but I think it's very unpolished right now, because certain things you ask it to do, it won't do. Like if I say play a show on Netflix, it says you have to unlock your tablet to do this. So then I have to walk over to the thing and put my finger on the power button so it will unlock and then play the thing on Netflix. But if I ask it to play something on Disney Plus, it just plays it. It doesn't make me unlock it. So I think they have a lot of stuff they need to iron out. The experience right now is not very clean, but I think it has the potential of being better than a Nest Home Hub for blind users, because TalkBack is so much better than trying to use the built-in screen reader on a Nest Home Hub device.
Let's just put it out that the tablet is a giant phone. It is absolutely not the same thing as your Nest Hub. I still go back to that. It's just a confusion if you're trying to compare the two. They are not the same. You're just having a big, supersized phone, that has the Play Store and everything that you can install on your phone, you can install on that damn tablet. It is just the same thing. Unlike the Nest Hub, which is not the same and both not even running the same OS. So there are things that the Nest is going to do differently and this one is going to do differently. They're never the same.
So I've got a bit of a very interesting comparison that I think John might be able to point out. Do you have any comparison between the assistant on the Pixel tab versus, say, the assistant that's built into most Chromebooks? Because basically looking at spec-wise and what they can and can't do, it almost appears that they're the same version compared to what we would have on our phones. Because I noticed, like you said, with Netflix and Disney Plus, I've noticed on the Chromebook version of Assistant, it's almost the exact same thing. When I have my Lenovo Chromebook in tablet mode, Disney Plus would play automatically with no questions, but Netflix itself just doesn't open without it being unlocked.
So that might be the case with the assistant that runs while it's docked. The assistant that runs while it's undocked is exactly the same as like what a Pixel phone would do. So, and when you do, the thing is when you do run something while it's on the dock, what it does is it opens an app called Chromecast built-in. So it doesn't actually open the app of whatever you're doing. So if you think you can tell the display, play something on Disney Plus, and then you can pick it up and be in the Disney Plus app, that's not the case. You're going to be in the Chromecast. It'll keep playing when you take it off, and you can still control it and everything. But if you want to like change what you're watching, you'll have to leave that app and go into the actual Disney Plus app.
And I think that's the problem, Warren. So if they'd sold it without the dock, I would agree with you. It's just a giant phone. But that's not what Google have done. They've sold it with the dock, which is supposed to have this other stuff. And the problem is it's gone a bit weird by the sounds of it.
Google itself tells you it is not a replacement for the Nest Hub. So let's
but it's added in. It's added in the dock. No, but it's added in the dock.
All I'm trying to say here is it's just a stand. If anyone is thinking that they're buying this as a replacement for their Nest Hub,
but it isn't.
You are wrong. Don't do that. It's not.
But it's not just a stand either. The stand changes the behavior as the tablet, as John has just said. If you say something to the tablet on the stand,
it has to because it needs to also charge the tablet, for example.
No, Warren. It changes the behavior. It does different things. If it's a charger and just plays through the speaker, it does it. It does literally different things, doesn't it, John?
Of course, giving you a hands-free experience. But what I'm saying, they are not the same thing.
It does more than that.
I keep saying that, and I'll say that till I'm blue in the face. The tablet and the Nest Hub are not the same beasts.
Yeah, I'm sure
they're
not
the same.
But that doesn't mean Google's not trying to sell you that idea.
But even Google itself says they're not the same. It's not a replacement for the Nest Hub.
But John, this is not a charging stand with speakers, is it? It does different things when it's on the stand, doesn't it?
Right. It's not. So if I plug in a USB-C cable and then I plug in, like, connect a Bluetooth speaker, that's going to be a completely different experience than if I put this thing on the dock. So yeah, they are selling it as that. But I do have something I want to mention as just the tab. Even if I bought this as a tablet only, no dock, no Nest Hub like experience, something about it that's really disappointed me that I noticed immediately is it does not have haptics. And that's very disappointing to me. It's something you don't realize you depend on until it's gone. Like Warren, I turn haptics off in Talkback immediately. I don't like those, but I do like it in certain situations. Like while I'm typing, I like that feedback. I like the feedback. You guys know I use a pattern instead of a pin, and I can feel when I've connected dots because it vibrates. And without that, I've had to go back to using a pin on this because I don't have that feedback. And like even pressing and holding the power button to use Google Assistant, normally I depend on that vibration to let me know I can start talking. But whereas now I've had to go into the settings and turn the chime on so that I know when Google Assistant is listening to me. So That's been a bummer for me, as far as hardware goes. But I do love the size of it, the feel of it, the build of it. I think it's a great tablet, but that's the one thing that's been disappointing to me is that they didn't include haptics.
So you actually just hit, John, on a point that I've kind of always thought about with the tablet side of mobile tech, is the fact that most of them don't have haptic feedback. And I'm kind of like you, like I rely on that haptic feedback when it comes to simple things like patterns or use of my keyboard. So for me, I've had to go and turn on all the sounds on any tablet. That way I've got some kind of feedback while I'm entering in that text. And it is actually a real big disappointment because some of us don't like those extra key clicks and stuff like that. We kind of want to have more of that vibrate feedback to keep our devices a little more quiet. And it's always been something that I've kind of questioned, like there's so much room in a tablet. Why is the haptic motor something that they cut out? And I think it's something that we need to, look at in the future with tech is what about those who rely on the haptic feedback?
I don't know. Every tablet I've used has had it. So iPads do, obviously. We had a Lenovo for the daughter, which had it. We swapped that for the Samsung I want to say A7. I don't think I paid for the A8. That has haptic feedback. What tablets aside from the Google one don't?
So my Samsung A7 Lite, I have the A7 Lite, not the A7, doesn't have it, but my other Samsung tablet does have it, the S8. So I think it just depends, like, it's just something they cut out of like the lower end tablets. I think they don't want to include it. And in the past, I've kind of complained because, the larger the tablet, it's kind of harder to feel. It does have haptics, but it's like harder to feel it sometimes. But it is there, and when it's gone, you immediately miss it.
Coming up next, our app of the week, in which we show you how to use the app and review its accessibility. You can submit your recording for this segment. Email it to us at contactus@blindandroidusers.com.
And now we turn to the app of the week, and Warren demonstrates the article organizing app, Instapaper.
Hi. For episode 133 of the Blind Android Users Podcast App of the Week, this is demonstrating Instapaper, Instapaper. Instapaper has been around since 2010 or 2011, somewhere there, and it's been stable for many people all these years. So think of Instapaper like the likes of Pocket, something we demonstrated in one of our episodes. Instapaper, however, is not your typical RSS reader. In other words, it's not something that you can easily subscribe to an RSS feed from within the Instapaper without using a plugin, something like Zapier or IFTT. Instapaper's focus, however, is that clean UI you get when reading an article, even though it does retain the images, for example, but it does not get in the way whether you're reading it with your screen reader or reading it with the TTS output. That's the beauty of Instapaper. The focus, however, therefore, is to be able to share articles to it from across the web. So, for example, if you're reading an article on your web browser, you can just tap on that More options, tap on that Share, and choose Instapaper from among the apps presented to share it with. That's how you add or build the number of articles in your Instapaper outside of using those plugins to subscribe to RSS feeds that you like. For today's demonstration, I'll be utilizing the Galaxy S21 running One UI 5.1, and in the way of the TTS engine, I will be using the defunct Eloquence today because if I use the regular Google speech services, then it conflicts with the readout from the TTS output from Instapaper, as it uses the same speech services, therefore it doesn't get to play. So in other words, if you're going to be using the TTS readout from Instapaper, you would need to switch to a different TTS engine when you use it. In the way of the screen reader, of course, I'm using Talkback 13.5 as for Samsung. Now, let's go ahead, though, and show you what we have. And if you haven't signed on to Instapaper before, so if you heard this demonstration and then you decide to go download it, upon launching the app, you're going to find two buttons toward the bottom. The first one will tell you to create an account, and the second one will ask you to sign in. And whether you create an account or you sign in, when you get it going, you'll be landed in the home area. Let's get started, and I'll show you what I'm talking about, and we'll go from here. I am on my home screen, and I'll now find and tap on Instapaper.
Instapaper and Pager, window home.
I'll go ahead and tap.
Instapaper, Outlook versus Gmail. How do they compare?
As you can hear, the first article here is Outlook versus Gmail. And this is one of the articles that I have saved, and therefore it's in my home view. That is, in the home area where all my saved articles are located. Now, one thing to bear in mind here is that every time you add an article, it gets saved toward the top. So the newest is always at the top. So that's the sorting. At the top, we've got some buttons. We've got one that says menu on the top left corner, and then two more on the right. We've got the search, and at the rightmost is the more options. I do want to mention here in passing, however, that some of the buttons here, even the ones that I just mentioned, especially the one that says menu on the top left and the more options on the top right, are both unlabeled, and so the heavy lifting here is being done by Talkback. Let's go ahead and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Starting with the top left corner, I'll put my finger near the top left.
Out of list. Detected. Icon menu, text apostrophe Instapaper.
You heard icon menu, and moving to the right.
Search.
That one is properly labeled. And I do want to mention here that if you tap on that search, it will take you to where it will ask you to subscribe to the premium subscription, which costs like $2.99 a month, basically $3 a month, or $29.99 annually. Those are the only subscription models that we have with Instapaper. To the right of that, we've got
Detected. Icon more.
More. Now, let's go ahead, though, before we get to the more, let's start on the top left and see what we have in the menu when I tap on that top left button.
Detected. Icon menu, text.
I am now in the menu, and here we come across
Home and list.
something that says home, and that's where I am currently. That is where my articles are. And below that,
Liked.
liked, that is articles that you've liked. Next,
Archive.
archive,
Videos.
videos, that if you have saved some videos.
Notes.
Notes, these are notes you've created, maybe while reading an article.
Browse.
And the last item here is the browse. So when we tap on the browse, it will take us to the curated or the hand-picked articles that the staff of Instapaper have chosen. I'll show you what I'm talking about.
Browse. Tucker Carlson's vulgar, offensive messages about college. The history of Control plus Alt plus Delete. www.
So you can see the articles here. So for example, if I go down,
Double gun by last call for
I'll go
gumshoes.
down.
Google versus AI Whiteboard Friday. Moz.com.
So for example, let's say I want to open this particular item from Google versus AI.
Instapaper. Save and list.
Tapping on that, I hear save, and below that,
Open in browser.
Open in browser. Now, if I tap on the Save button, for example,
Save.
it will add that to the list of my articles. I'll tap here so you'll see what I'm talking about. And when we go back to the home, then you'll see that this is going to be on the top of the list.
Saved. Instapaper. Instapaper. Google versus AI
All right.
feature.
Now, let's go back to the top. Now that we are in Browse, we got one new button that got introduced, and that would be the second button from the very top right corner will be something that says Friends. So in other words, you could add friends so friends can see what you're reading or what they're reading.
Friends. Out of list.
And of course, I don't have any friends in here, so if I tap here, there'll be no friends in there. And to the right of it will be
Detected. Icon more.
More options. Now, if you tap on these more options, the only thing you will find here will be the settings, the same settings that we will find in the more options if we were in the home area, which has more items. So let's not go into the settings here since it's the same thing. I want to go back to the main area. So I'm going to tap now on the menu on the top left corner to bring up the menu, and then I'll tap on Home.
Browse.
There we go, tapping on Browse now, which is the menu. I will now find the Home.
Home.
There's my Home.
Home. Google versus AI whiteboard.
So as you can hear, there's the article sitting there at the top of the list of the articles that I have saved, and that was the one I tapped on from the Browse. Now, I had mentioned earlier that the more options here, when tapped on here in the area that says Home, we have more items in that more options than when compared to the one that is found in the Browse. So I will now tap on that more options on the top right.
Detected. Icon more. Out of list.
And I'll tap.
Pop-up window. Sort and list.
So here we find the sort, in other words, how you want to sort your articles by newest first or oldest first or shuffle. The next item.
Filter.
Filter. That is, if you want to filter some articles that you don't want to be in, if they're shorter than 5 minutes or whatever, you can choose to filter those things out. Next.
Settings.
We come across the settings, and that's the last item. Let's go ahead and tap on that settings.
Settings. Detected. Icon menu. Text apostrophe Instapaper. Settings. Out of list.
Tapping on that settings, we're focused on the top left corner, and that's the menu button again. Now, if I move my finger down here, we'll find something that says Theme.
Theme. Disabled. And list.
Now, that theme below that has what I refer to as 3 different themes from left to right. They sit like tabs. And the first one is like an ancient looking book, paper from old, maybe the sepia, that kind of color. And then the one in the middle will be the light color. And then the one on the farthest right will be the dark theme. So if you like dark theme, you could tap on the right one. However, these things don't make any sound, or rather, these things are not labeled, so they don't speak what they are. So in order to find them, you have to have your ear cons on. I don't have ear cons. And so if I'm navigating here, I'm not going to hear anything, but they are there. And if you want them, turn your ear cons on so that you can hear those little tabs. This is something to report to the developer to fix accessibility. Below that, though, we have the basics.
Basic options. Disabled.
We hear basic options disabled, and below that,
Rotation. Allow screen rotation. Switch. Off.
that's rotation. If you want it to rotate to landscape or whatever, I leave mine off.
Automatic dark mode. Switch to dark mode during night. Switch. Off.
So if you want it to automatically turn into the dark mode at night, you can turn this one on.
Scroll mode. Tilt scrolling.
Here we hear something called scrolling. By default, the tilt scrolling is not the default. I chose the tilt scrolling, and I'll tell you why. Because we have either the tilt scrolling or the pagination scrolling. Now, the difference is that if you have the pagination, then the pages are scrolled, horizontally. That is, not vertically. And what happens is that if you choose the pagination, flipping of the pages, what happens is that there are some buttons that will not show up when you have it set that way. So buttons like style or the more options where it has the speak, that is to tap on that to make the article read via the TTS is not going to be there. So I chose to leave mine in the tilt so that I'll see those options. I'll show you what I'm talking about, for example, when I go to an article. Next item.
Flip pages, disabled.
Next.
Tilt scrolling direction.
And the tilt scrolling direction, and you could have either reverse or normal. Next.
Volume button scrolling, allow scrolling using volume buttons, switch, off.
Next.
Account, disabled.
We come across account, and below that simply says my email address.
Username, worker@g, premium, upgrade.
And then we got premium. You could update. You tap here, and it'll take you to where you could subscribe to those two models that I mentioned earlier, the $2.99 a month or $29.99 annually. Those are the only ones we have. We don't have a lifetime subscription.
Profile privacy, private.
Profile privacy. In other words, you could choose to make yourself get seen by default is set to private.
Sign out.
Then we've got sign out.
Social accounts, disabled.
And we hear social accounts disabled. And below that, we have things like
Facebook,
Twitter,
Tumblr,
Evernote,
Pinboard.
Oh, there's something called Pinboard. Never heard of that.
More options, disabled.
Then we have more options like a header, and below that,
advanced.
We have advanced, and then the last item here will be
about Instapaper 4.5.3.
That's the last item. Let's go up though to the advanced, because there are some things we can look into.
Advanced.
Let's go ahead and tap on advanced.
Advanced. Re-download all articles and list.
The first item we hear in advanced is to read all the articles.
Home, 100 latest articles.
And home.
Liked, 10 latest articles.
Liked.
Archive, 10 latest articles.
Archive.
Other options, disabled.
Then we hear other options disabled, and below that,
full screen.
Full screen. So if you tap here, it'll offer you how to go about full screen, whether you double tap or whatever, to show you a full screen of the article and things like that. I'm not interested in
update.
That. We have update.
Background update, never.
And then we have background update never. And what this does is if you tap in here, you have either 1 hour, 12 hour, 24 hours, and the never. So if I change to 1 hour, what that will do is update the hand-picked articles from the staff of Instapaper. That's what that has to do with. Now let's go back.
Settings, advanced, and list.
And I'll go back again.
Instapaper, detected. Icon more, out of list.
Now let's go click on one of these articles.
Google versus AI Whiteboard Friday, Moz.com, Instapaper. Google versus AI Whiteboard Friday, WebView.
Now if I put my finger down.
Large language models have taken the world by storm in recent months. In today's episode, Tom goes over some of the new threats to Google from recent advances in machine learning models like Chat, and how Google might react to those threats.
Okay. Now, so we've got some buttons here, and because we are in that tilt scrolling mode, and we have some buttons starting from the very top. We have the navigate at top.
Navigate up button.
And then moving to the right.
Like.
We have the like, so you can like that article. And to the right of that.
Archive.
Archive. I could tap here to archive this article.
Delete.
I could tap here to delete it from my collection, or
style.
Style, that is, if you tap here, you can choose the fonts and the brightness, how you want it to look, and all of that. Next,
More.
we have the more. Now, tapping on this more will take us to where we could tap on the speak to read it aloud if you want it read via the TTS engine. Now, tap here on more.
Pop-up window. Move. Enlist.
You could choose to move it,
Share.
share,
Enable tilt scrolling.
enable tilt scrolling,
Open in browser.
or open it in your browser.
Speed read.
Speed read, that is, if you want to read it quickly. In other words, if you can see and you want to do some speed read, you could do that. Next.
Speak.
Last item here is speak. Now, if I tap here on the speak, it should start reading that with the TTS engine from Google.
Instapaper. Google versus AI whiteboard.
Large language models have taken the world by storm in recent months. In today's episode, Tom goes over some of the new threats to Google from recent advances in machine learning models like ChatGPT and how Google might react to those
Play stop
threats.
beat.
At the bottom, though, we have the play/stop. I think that what I don't like is that it doesn't support the double tapping to stop or resume playback, for example. So if I double tap with 2 fingers, nothing gets played. I have to actually go tap on that play pause at the bottom. So at the bottom, once you have the TTS readout going on, you have 5 buttons at the very bottom. Starting from the bottom left, we have the close TTS, that is, to close the TTS engine or the readout loud via the TTS.
Detected. Icon close. Text X. Button.
And then to the right of it,
Detected. Icon left. Left. Button.
you can tap on that to rewind you back. And to the right of that, the middle button out of the 5, and that's the play/pause button.
Play stop BTN. Button. Detected. Icon play.
To the right of that,
Detected. Icon right. Right. Button.
that's a move to the right, that is forward. And
1.0x.
1.0x, that's the speed. So you can change how fast the TTS reads. So for example, let's say I go tap on that play.
Detected. Icon play. Button.
In today's episode, Tom goes over some of the
1.5x.
new threats to Google from recent advances in machine. In today's episode, Tom goes over some of the new threats to Google from
Tab
recent
again.
advances in machine. In today's episode,
Tab again.
Tom goes over some of the new threats to
Play
Google
stop
from
beat.
recent.
So as you can see, that changes you between 3 different speeds. And that's what that does. That is a quick demonstration of the Instapaper. And thanks for listening to this demo of Instapaper.
So I quite liked this app, Warren. One thing I wasn't sure about, aside from like your favorites and your archive and stuff, does it let you have collections or folders or anything? Can you kind of group the articles in any way?
I think that you can, if you go to, where did I see it now? You caught me at the wrong time. I'm not sure because I didn't play with it much, but I do want to mention something here that I didn't mention in that demo. That if you choose to have that refresh, whether you want it for 30 minutes, 1 hour, whatever, that would refresh both the handpicked articles from the editorial staff of Instapaper, as well as those that you add using Zapier or the IFTT. So if you want to be able to, constantly have new article, new content, then you need to turn that on and it will refresh both sides.
And is there any way to turn off the handpicked, or can you not do that?
No. So the whole idea of the handpicked is to be able to like the articles, and you can, so that if you, for example, if you add one from the editorial team, if you have friends, they can see that you are reading it. If you make it visible to your friends, or if you add friends and decide to let them see what you're reading, they would see the articles that are from the editorial team, but not the other one. So that's the distinction.
But you can't turn off for yourself. You can't turn off the editorial team's handpicked, like in your own feed.
No,
you're kind of stuck with that.
You just have to, if you don't want their editorial stuff, then you don't tap on that browse, and it's not going to be in your chosen articles. Because it's just a source of articles. For example, if you don't want to use them as a source, then you can just add your own sources as you see fit.
Yeah, but you can hide their articles. You don't have to swipe past their articles if you don't want to. You can turn them off somewhere.
Yeah, so the way to not see theirs is not to tap on that browse. If you don't tap on that browse, you wouldn't see the editorial articles from the Instapaper staff.
That's cool. No, I'm glad you can do that, because otherwise that would be annoying.
Yeah, I know, me too. It is curtain drawing time, thus we come to the end of today's episode, and up next we give you information on how to get hold of us.
And that concludes our podcast for this week. So thank you very much for listening. Thank you for being with us. We appreciate every single one of you. Austin, how can people get in touch with us?
To contact us, you can send an email to contactus@blindandroidusers.com. You can join our mailing list by sending an email to Blind Android Users plus subscribe at groups.io. You can join our Telegram, Facebook, Discord, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. The links for everything will be at the bottom of the show notes and also in the video description of the YouTube channel. And also the links are in the websites panel of the YouTube channels.
And that concludes our episode for this week. So thank you very much for listening. Thank you for being with us. We appreciate every single one of you. John, say bye-bye to the nice people.
Bye-bye to the nice people.
Dougie boy.
Bye, nice people.
Sally, say bye-bye to the nice Yannaks.
Bye, nice Yannaks.
Warren, say bye-bye to everybody.
Bye, everybody, and thank you so much. We love you guys. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Blind Android Users Podcast. Until we see you next week, don't forget to leave us your comments and suggestions via our email contact or using any of our social media sites. Have a great week.